These episodes are definitely way too damn short. As I said in my episode 2 review, when I sat down, I didn't even realize 20 minutes have passed. Like, I got a cup of coffee, I was watching this episode of Parasyte, and then instantly after I finished my cup or halfway through it, the episode's already over, and I'm like, what the freaking hell? Like, seriously, it's just that entertaining. It is so good, I didn't even realize 20 minutes passed. It felt like a couple of minutes. Damn, this series is entertaining. Has a great amount of entertainment value if it can do something like that to me, because I don't usually get that into a series. Like, when I get into a series, I get into it, but when a series can drag you in and make you think 20 minutes is like 3 minutes or 4 minutes, that is when you know you have a good series on your hand, if it's on any series or any anime or any TV show. Now, this week's episode of Parasyte, I'm seeing a lot of foreshadowing and some form of connections going on, like some foreshadowing towards the mother and Izumi. From what I see from this episode, the main concept is that there is obviously either going to be some death flags towards the parents, Izumi's parents, or there's going to be a connection to where Izumi is going to protect his mother. Let me explain why. In this episode, we have a flashback with Izumi's mother. For instance, his mother, when, he was younger, she was making food, doing dishes and stuff like that, how a mother would take care of her child. Well, the child, got in a rush, and all of a sudden he hit the side of, the counter, and this hot food, I don't know exactly what it was, it looked like mashed potatoes or cheese or something, but it was probably scalding hot, because of what it did to the mother's hand. He goes over there, and the entire bowl is about to fall on top of Izumi's head. And thankfully enough, the mother made it in time and actually held the bowl up. Even though it was scalding hot, it burnt her entire hand. So we find out why her hand was burnt, because of Izumi. Now, in this episode, we clearly see some key little signs and emotions that Izumi actually blames himself for his mother's burn. We actually can see that a couple times in this episode. But it's not just that. I found it very interesting how the mother's burn mark, like where it's at, is the exact same hand where Migi is on. For instance, look at Migi. Migi's on the right hand of Izumi. And where's the burn mark of the mother at? The right hand. And so this makes me think of a couple things. The mother went out of her way to protect her child, and she burnt herself in the process to do it without thinking. I think, if I'm correct, I'm going to take a guess and say maybe Izumi is going to do the exact same thing for his mother. Like, he is going to use his right hand, Migi is going to protect Izumi's mother. And it's going to be like kind of returning the favor. That foreshadowing right there. I think that's exactly what's going on with the mother and Izumi. And judging by the way it's going to be hard to hide Migi from his parents for long. Because, you gotta go figure. There's circumstances, different things can happen. You can never judge what will ever happen. And as we know from Migi, he is like, A and all the other, parasites. They will kill anyone around him if their identity gets, discovered. And so, of course, Migi would kill Izumi's parents without question. He would just kill them. He wouldn't care. And so Izumi has to worry about this entire guilt. He has to somehow figure out a way to keep his parents away from Migi where they don't realize, but that definitely is not going to happen for the rest of the series. I know for a fact there's going to be some form of drama to where his parents will discover that Migi is on Izumi's right hand. The question is, how will it happen? That is the big question. That's the key factor. How will it happen? And will Migi actually kill Izumi's parents? Or will my theory of how Migi might save Izumi's mother come true? I don't know. Now, with this episode, right when it begins, he goes right back into the fight with A, and A, honestly, he gets fucking wrecked. Let's just be real here. He got wrecked in this episode. It starts off, you see how Izumi's personality is changing once again. We see key signs of how his personality is definitely changing, probably from the influence of Migi, and you see how he's slowly walking closer while this big fucking battle is going on in front of him between A and Migi. You see them block each other, all this freaking fast movement. He can't even see it, but he's putting his faith in Migi to protect him as he continues to walk forward, and he stabs A. That was a really awesome and interesting scene I love seeing in this episode. Now, personally, like I said, A, he got wrecked after he got stabbed. He just wandered off, tried to stop the bleeding and relocate his head into another parasite, for instance, the teacher, and the teacher exploded him with fucking oxygen. So yeah, he died. Now, there's been a lot of hints at this since episode 2, how parasites can relocate to different parts of the body, and in Fury, as we found out in episode 2, when Migi could cut himself off of Izumi's body, and he could become, like another right hand to another parasite's body. We figured out this a couple episodes back, and there's been a lot of Furies, a lot of Chibis made, and I'm made in general, too. How many parasites can get in one body to control an entire host? Because, as we found out from that one parasite in episode 2, if two parasites take over a host, it could possibly make the body functions work to up to like 140 years. I think if that's the correct number. Like he said, like if we both work together on this host, we can survive for 140 years. So what happens if you like have 5 parasites in one body, like one for each limb and one for the head, and maybe one in the torso? You could probably have like 6 parasites in one body. And so I wonder exactly how strong a parasite would be if it could control different aspects of its body, because all of the parasites we have seen thus far is where they always use their head to attack. I mean, look at the teacher, look at A, they're always using their head to attack. Where they take over in the parts of the body, that's what they can transform. And so with this entire element, it makes you question, like, there's probably going to encounter parasites that have one body. Like, you're probably going to have parasites that can use 2 different hands and stuff like that. It'll be crazy. So we'll have to see exactly where that goes. Now, one other interesting thing happened in this week's episode of Parasyte. Migi reveals that he can actually detach himself from Izumi's arm. He can actually go in mobile mode for 3 minutes. He can go into this little dog-looking shape, like he walked like a freaking dog in this episode when he was detached from Izumi, and it proves that, you know, he can survive for a limited amount of time. Necessarily, though, I wonder exactly what causes that time limit. Is it because he's not, like, attached to the bloodstream, the nutrients, or what exactly is it? Why does, you know, Migi only have 3 minutes? Maybe he can increase that timer, I have no idea. Now, overall, the episode is a very good episode, and I'm curious exactly what the teacher is going to do about the baby inside her. As she said, she would devour the baby if it's not useful to her. She'll devour it and experiment on it, but judging by the way it's going and judging by how the ending of this is, I wonder if motherly instincts will actually come out of this creature, because we do get some hints at some instincts with the characters, like how the parasite that took over the teacher's head, she says, like, my first, like, direct order I was received when I took over the brain of this human was, I want to devour this species. And instantly I was thinking, like, that's instinct. That's just instinct. A creature's instinct. Everybody has, you know, instinct when they're born. And maybe since it technically is a mother with a child, maybe this parasite inside that teacher's head will have a motherly instinct to where it will actually watch over the child. So maybe this is also foreshadowing to that. But either way, great episode. I'm giving it an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. It was a very good episode. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.